Hey y'all, so I want to talk to you really quick about the NAR lawsuit and offer some clarification for anybody who might need it. I'm a little late on making this video, but I've been just watching and waiting like everybody else. And I wanted to make sure that I really knew what I was talking about before I come on here and try to talk to y'all about it. But I feel like there is a lot of confusion, and I feel like it needs to be clarified. I have notes, so if you see me reading, that's why, because I tend to ramble. I'm going to try not to do that because this video is going to be pretty boring. So basically, the media coverage of this lawsuit is making it sound as if the seller is no longer required to pay buyer's agent commissions. You were never required as a seller to pay buyer's agent commissions. Any commission paid has always been negotiable across the board. That's always been a thing. If you've worked with an agent before and that was not explained to you, I'm sorry, because it should have been. Part of our job is to be transparent with our clients and customers, which means that in our agreement, you and I, as a client, agent, we're gonna talk about where the commission goes, how much is being paid, and what I'm doing with it. So whether I'm keeping 100% of it for myself or if I'm splitting a certain percentage of it with a buyer's agent, you're gonna know about that ahead of time. As far as the amount goes, as listing agents, we know what it costs to market a property. We know what it costs to pay a buyer's agent to do their job. We know what it costs to pay health insurance and pay taxes and pay living expenses. So we have an idea of that's how we know how much to charge. But that amount is always negotiable. It's never not been. The only thing that has changed with the lawsuit is how we negotiate amongst other real estate, like amongst ourselves as agents, as to how much the buyer's agent is getting paid. That's the only thing that's changed so far. We just can't put it in the MLS anymore, which doesn't really have anything to do with you as a client, but again, full transparency, that's what's going on. All we have to do is pick up the phone and call each other and say, hey, what's the deal? What are you paying? What are you offering? I mean, really this whole thing is pointless, but anyways. So what's gonna happen is one of two things. We're gonna have a huge population of buyers that are unrepresented because they can't afford to be represented and purchase a house because they have a down payment, which can be up to 20%. They've got inspections, they have appraisal fees, they have rate buy downs. They're already putting out a lot of money. That's not to say as a seller you don't have expenses, because you do, but buyers are not going to be able to afford to pay for representation. You're going to have some buyers that know that they have to have representation. They don't know how to do it on their own. So they're either going to pass on your house and you're going to lose that buyer, or they're going to ask you for money. They're going to either offer you less than your asking price, or they're going to ask you for concessions to offset their cost to be able to purchase your house. So then you have to make a decision. Do you take less money or do you lose the buyer? Or you're going to have buyers that are going to go in unrepresented. And as a seller, you're probably going to think, well, that's their problem. And that is their problem until it becomes your problem. My job as a seller's agent is to do what's in the best interest of my seller. And in my opinion, what's in the best interest of my seller is to have a buyer that has an agent guiding them, because at some point they're gonna come back to you and act like they didn't know what was going on, and they're gonna be pissed. That's what's gonna happen. So for instance, let's just say you're 2 or 3 days from closing and the buyer decides, I should check out the flood insurance and the flood information on this property, and they do, and they either A, can't live with the fact that it's flooded twice, or B, they can't afford the flood insurance. And now you already moved out of your house and moved all your stuff into storage, and your buyer's walking. Had they had an agent to represent them, that probably wouldn't have happened. It does happen, but if they had a good agent to represent them, that would not have happened, and you would be going to closing and you would be closing on time. Or maybe they did not know how to read their inspection report and they didn't realize that the degree differential on the HVAC unit was not normal until summertime rolls around, and then now they're pissed, and guess what they're doing? They're either calling you or they're calling a lawyer. They're not going to win, but you're still going to have to deal with the headache of it. Or maybe they didn't get an inspection report at all, and every time something breaks, guess what? You have just become a landlord with a tenant who is threatening to sue you every time you turn around, and that's just a headache that you don't want to have to deal with. That's why you hired an agent in the first place. So basically, this lawsuit that they're saying was to protect people really is just putting buyers and sellers in a much more vulnerable position, because sellers all of a sudden have this notion that they no longer have to pay buyers when, again, you never had to. But if I'm your agent, I'm going to recommend that you do, because if not, you're just going to end up with a whole slew of other problems. Not to mention, if you stick to your guns and you say, I'm not paying enough to split with a buyer's agent, your house is going to sit on the market, because nobody's going to pay money for admission to go see your house. It's not going to happen. So you're going to continuously drop your price. Your market value is going to go down. You're going to lose money anyways. So you're just going to spend more time on the market. That's my take. I feel like I've been watching this enough, and I've kind of put these thoughts together because there needs to be some clarification. I probably could talk about this all day, but I'm not going to. So if you have questions, please message me. If you think that I'm wrong, please tell me, and let's talk about it. But my recommendation is to don't cut the buyer's agent out. It's a bad idea. So anyways, hope that helps. Peace out.